What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to another episode of The Drop. I hope this video finds you well, and today we've got some really weird games to talk about that are coming out this week on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, Switch, whatever they may be coming out on. It's a strange conglomeration of titles, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. First off, we have Yoku's Island Express coming out on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. Yoku has arrived on Makumana, and he's ready for the easy life, soaking up the sun and delivering parcels on a tropical paradise. However, an ancient island deity is trapped in a restless sleep, and it's all down to Yoku to traverse the island using a unique blend of pinball mechanics, platforming, and open world exploration in an amazing adventure to help those in need. Flip and bump our pint-sized protagonist around the stunning hand-painted island on your quest to rebuild the post office and wake an old god from its deep slumber. One of the coolest things about this game is the fact that it is literally a pinball game that is open world and is beautifully hand-drawn. It is fantastic whenever you take a look at this gameplay to see how detailed it is, to see how unique it is. Really, I've never seen a platformer that functions in quite this way. It really is just blowing my mind, and I wasn't even going to cover this on today's episode of The Drop until I was going through looking at all the games, and I was like, whoa, they've got something special with this one. So if you're a fan of platformers, I would say this game takes in some stuff from Ori and the Blind Forest, throws in a little bit of Rayman Legends, and then on top of that mixes in some pinball. So that sounds like a pretty cool experience, and I would definitely recommend checking it out this week on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, or even the Nintendo Switch. Next up, we've got Moonlighter coming out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and the PC as well. During a long-past archaeological excavation, a set of gates were discovered. People quickly realized that these ancient passages led to different realms and dimensions, providing brave and reckless adventures with treasures beyond measure. Rhinoka, a small commercial village, was founded near the excavation site, providing a refuge and a place for adventurers to sell their hard-earned riches. Moonlighter is an action RPG with roguelite elements, following the everyday routines of Will, an adventurous shopkeeper that dreams of becoming a hero. So on one hand, this game is an action RPG. That's literally what the combat is, but on the other hand, you're also a shopkeep that is balancing, bills, balancing paying for things, balancing selling things, and it has that kind of management side to it as well, and I think that really complements what the story is trying to bring to the table, because essentially Will is a kid that grew up in a shopkeep family, and he was always kind of wanting to go on adventures. He was always wanting to do what most characters do in video games, but as we all kind of tend to do in our lives, we end up working a lot, and we end up not necessarily achieving everything that we set out to achieve. This dude, instead of giving up on that, is a moonlighter, where he goes out and adventures at night and is a shopkeep during the day. It's kind of like a Batman, Bruce Wayne kind of thing. A really, really cool concept for a game. So the story looks really good in this one. I think the gameplay is going to be stellar. If you want to check it out, again, coming out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and the PC this week, and I would say that it's going to be fantastic on all of those consoles. I'm excited about checking this one out whenever there are sales later on in the summer, because your boy's got to save a little bit of cash, but when it comes down to it, a fantastic game for this week's releases. Next up, we've got Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection coming on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. 12 arcade classics in one collection. Celebrate Street Fighter's historic legacy with the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. In this massive collection of 12 Street Fighter titles, which encompass the Street Fighter 1, 2, 3, and Alpha series, perfect arcade balance makes it to consoles for the first time ever. Hop online and relive the arcade experience through the online arcade mode, or play with friends in the online lobby within 4 of the most definitive Street Fighter titles in the collection. The celebration continues in the museum, where fans and historians alike can follow the timeline of how Street Fighter has evolved over the past 30 years. Learn more about the Street Fighter cast, view key animation sprites in the character viewer, and take a behind-the-scenes look at the design documents that help solidify the franchise that produced generations of world warriors. So this is a really cool little collection. It comes with 12 of the most iconic Street Fighter games that have really brought it into where it is today. And I would say that this is fantastic for not only fans of Street Fighter, but also those that are into gaming history, how we got to where we are in the modern era. Because I think that going through and playing these games and checking out the museum functionality within the game can really enlighten you as to how we got to something like Ultra Street Fighter 4, or perhaps where we might be going with Street Fighter 5. I think there's a lot to be learned within this little collection right here. So if you are a fan of Street Fighter, if you are a fan of the history of games, then you might want to check out this collection, because there's a lot of value packed into one little package. And of course, it's coming out on the Switch, and Street Fighter on the Switch seems to be a pretty cool thing. I don't know if there's Joy-Con functionality, but if you could rip 2 in half, that'd be pretty cool. And finally, we have Sega Mega Drive Classics coming out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Depending on what part of the world you are in, it might also be Sega Genesis Classics. Fun fact, Sega's collection of Genesis Classics comes to a new generation of consoles and players. Over 50 titles across all genres, from all-time classics like Sonic and Streets of Rage 2 to deep RPGs like Phantasy Star series, arcade action shooters, beat-em-ups, puzzlers, old favorites, favorites and hidden gems. New features bring modern convenience to the classics. Save your game at any time, rewind those slip-ups, or customize your controls. Earn bragging rights with online multiplayer and achievements. The largest collection of retro classics on console in one great package. The first thing I want to say is that for 30 bucks you're getting 50 games. That's a really, really good deal no matter how you cut it. With that being said though, the thing that holds these collections back is the fact that the majority of these games are ones that you've never played before and you might never want to play. So for the standard kind of gamer, you might not necessarily be into every game that is included within the Sega Mega Drive's classics. But with that being said, there's still a lot of value there for those that, like I said with the Street Fighter Anniversary collection, like the history of gaming, like to go back and see what was popular on the Genesis, might want to find out some of the hidden gems of that era, and I think this is a great way to do that, and it's relatively affordable at 30 bucks. That's a lot of game, again, for $30. So if you were a big fan of the Mega Drive / Genesis, if you really want to go back and see what that generation of gaming was like and get some of those niche experiences, then I would recommend checking out this game this week. I know that a lot of people are going to be streaming it, checking out those retro games, but again, it's not going to be for everyone, but it might be for you, and it's coming out this week on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. And to wrap it all up, some honorable mentions. First off, we have Earth Atlantis coming out on the Xbox One and the PS4 after spending some time on the Switch. Harvest Moon Light of Hope Special Edition is coming out on the Switch and the 3DS, a really not good-looking Harvest Moon game. And finally, we have a game called Agony coming out on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC, which I was going to talk about, and it was going to be the headliner. Then I looked into it, and this game makes me very, very, very uncomfortable. It's kind of like a more realistic Doom. Not graphics-wise, it's just very hellish and scary. So if you want to check that out, I wouldn't recommend it. But hey, it's terrifying, and you might like it. I don't. So there you guys have it. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of The Drop. If you did, drop me a like down below, and if you are new to the channel, be sure to click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of the uploads, and also the morning show that I host every single weekday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, going over the hottest gaming news of the day. I would love to see you over there, but you can keep up to date with all of the content that I make at twitter.com/prettychillguy. I post links, I post memes you'd probably enjoy, but I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.